Okay, everyone, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. This is our series of webinars. The first one being focused on increasing rent time by making material requests easier. Just to intro us to who we are. Basically, P2 Insight is a business partner of IBM Maximo. We've been doing this specifically e-commerce enablement for about 10 years now, but I've been in the industry for over 20 years. We specialize in design, building innovative and efficient e-commerce solutions for Maximo itself and to enable supply chain integration, automation, and optimization. We partner with leading marketplace providers like Ariba, Coupa, um, Bruzy, Varus, and so on. And we're IBM's go-to partner for e-commerce enablement. We don't rip and replace Maximo. We work with Maximo. We extend it. We keep all the benefits of a fully integrated EAM system, but give you all the advantages of full P2P integration. Okay, specifically on this topic, our image shows the technician, pulling his hair out because it's so complex. A lot of people, find the maximal searching not very intuitive, rather challenging. And this is an example of the item master search. Yes, you can search for all these fields, but you've got to specify the information you're searching in the exact right field. So if you put the item description in here, but maybe a model number, like model number could be somewhere else. For example, the inventory search, you've got the model number here. I could put the model number here, but what if they entered it in the item description, or they entered the model number in the long description? It won't find it. You have to search in the exact right field, and you have to put the right combination of fields. And if it doesn't have a 100% match, it will not come through. On the desktop requisition, this is how you select materials or items. Basically, they give you filtering on the item number or in the description. Again, very little capability. It's got to be the exact right match. If you happen to be putting in the model number here, but the model number is in the model number field, it won't find it. So again, yes, it has the capabilities, but a lot of people find it frustrating and difficult to use. A lot of people actually give up way too quickly, or they waste someone else's time to get through the searching for them. Imagine if we had a Google X search single field search bar like Google, where you can type in basically anything you know about the item that you're looking for. So in my example here, I type in air filter for watercraft FA 1883 Ford F-150. The sequence doesn't matter. I could put Ford F-150 air filter and so forth. None of that matters. It's like Google. Type in whatever you want in your own language, and it'll find it. That's what this is about. We're basically developed a product called EzReq. It's a replacement for the requisitioning application in Maximo, and it contains the following features: a friendly, intuitive user interface, an advanced index Google-like search engine, advanced selection of storms and vendors, and an optional integration to punch out vendor online catalog. So if you can't find it internally, if it's not inventoried, we'll help you find it externally from a supplier. So let's start this process over again. So this is the first screen. You've got your single field where you type in everything you know about the search you're looking for, the item you're looking for. When you press enter, we give you a ranked list of basically items that match the search criteria, and we give it a score based on how many matches we found. And the matches are found in the item record and any related item information record, which I'll explain later. So basically, this item had the highest score, it came on top, and basically it's in that order. Basically, the number of hits it gets, the higher the hit ratio, the higher it'll be ranked. How do we find the ranking? Well, we look for these words anywhere. So it doesn't matter how you wrote these words in, which order, which sequence, all that stuff, it doesn't matter. We search every single field for these words. And if we find filter here, we find filter there, we find filter in the short description, long description, and basically all those are valid hits. If you specify the manufacturer in the manufacturer field, or if you specify the manufacturer in the description field or long description field or anywhere else, we'll find it. So we'll find hits no matter where they happen to be. And not only that, but we'll find information in related records. So for example, Ford 150 is not anywhere on the item master record itself, but there's an asset that's a Ford F-150 for which this item is a spare part for. And in this case, we'll still find it and we'll give it a higher score because there's some related records that have this information associated with this particular item. We can do this for related records that are related, let's say, in a work order, a PM job, on a schedule, on a vendor, and so forth. Anything that's related to the item master record could be searched, and scores could be assigned based on matches. And in addition to this, so for example, here's where I entered this information. I got my list ranked, highest, minimum, first. I also have filtering on the side. In this case, I'm going to filter by manufacturer. And it gives me a list of manufacturers, but not the 600 manufacturers I have in Maximo. It gives me just the 4 that are already in this list. So only the 4 manufacturers that are in this list are listed, and I choose the one that I want. I choose Motorcraft. And by doing that, it narrows this list down to just basically, in this case, one item, but it could be multiple. Okay, so you go from 20,000 items in your item master record to this search bar that maybe narrows it down to 50 records, and then this filtering where it brings it down to 1, 2, or 3, 2 or 3 small number, and from which you can then choose the actual item that you're looking for. When you click on the item itself, it gives you detailed information about the item. It gives you an image if you have those images. It gives you details about the manufacturer. It gives you a long description. It gives you the suggested inventory location to pick it up from. It gives you the balances on hand. It gives you pricing information. And all you have to specify is when you need it, what you're charging to, and the quantity, and you submit this request. But if you happen to need this urgently and need, let's say, 4, and you see this only has 1 on hand, then you can use update sourcing to select a different storeroom. So you see your storeroom only has 1 available on hand, but you need 4. We look down this list and you see this one here has 8 available. So you could get from this storeroom immediately. So for you to switch storerooms, all you do is click on here and boom, you're done. You just switch store locations that you want to source this from and create a reservation from. If for some reason there isn't enough, or you want to purchase it for any other reason, you just click on the purchase tab up here, and we give you a list of all the vendors you previously purchased it from, the manufacturer, the model number you bought, the pricing, the lead time information, as well as the last time it was ordered, so you know how current this information is. If you want to get it from another vendor that's not that you previously have not purchased it from, okay, you can specify that vendor down here and just put all the details information. That if you happen to call a vendor, get quote, you can put their pricing information in. You can say this is an actual price. You can specify the manufacturer, model, all that stuff. Okay, so either way, either you select from the storeroom, you purchase it from the ones you purchased previously, or you select a new vendor to purchase it from. If, on the other hand, you can't find it anywhere, okay, we have the option to punch out and shop the vendor online catalogs. So if it's not inventoried or you can't find it in inventory, you can punch out and basically search online catalogs. This is enabling a feature that we can do with many vendors. In this case, for example, if that's the case, if you have some vendors enabled, you press this button, that'll give you a list of all the vendor catalogs you have available. In this case, I'm going to choose Home Depot, okay? And when we go within EzReq, within Maximo, we're basically now in the Home Depot catalog. We use their powerful search engine to find the exact item that we want. When we find the item, we can use real-time information about real-time pricing, real-time availability, real-time delivery options, and so forth. So we make the decision based on real information, accurate, current information. And if we choose to buy it, we add it to our shopping cart, and then we check out. Now, I'm wondering, is this Home Depot the only one? No, there's lots of vendors. We've connected with all these vendors previously. These are some major vendors, Fastenal, Grainger, Applied, Amazon. I mean, all the big ones out there. There's over 1,800 vendors that enable this technology that we can connect to. This is just a small sample of who we've connected with so far. On return, so once you've selected your parts and you check out, on return, we bring the information back to Maximo, but we then also validate to see perhaps you missed it. Perhaps this item actually exists in your Maximo item master. And if we find what looks like a match, we'll present to you this information saying, looks like we have a match. We'll present the information to you, and you need to confirm that, yes, these are the same things. And if you do, basically, we'll bring it back with the punch out information, with the current pricing from punch out, the selected vendor, and all that stuff. But we will also associate it with the item master record. So this is item number 1011 in the inventory in your item master record. Okay, you can buy it this way, but we'll be tracking every purchase of this item. Okay, so you track it, you can analyze it, and then so forth. So it will go into your maximum purchase requisition as an item type, line type, not as a material line type. If, on the other hand, no match is found, so you're buying something from the vendor catalog for the first time, there is nothing like it in the item master record itself, you could say, if you think you'll buy this over and over again, you can create a request to have this item added to your item master. So it's a new item request. Well, we bring information from the vendor catalog. So the description, long description, the vendor, the manufacturer, the model number, the vendor's catalog number, the pricing, all that stuff is brought into Maximo and created as a request for a new item add. Now that request has to go through your workflow approval in Maximo. The people may supplement it with additional information, additional approval details, all that stuff. Eventually, it could become an item master in Maximo. But the key is you didn't have to type all this thing in from scratch. It all came in electronically from the vendor catalog. If you can't find the item anywhere, okay, you can just write in what you're looking for, and we will direct it to a buyer or a sourcing expert who will then figure out what item needs to be purchased and where they can source it. So, for example, if I'm looking for a battery for an iPhone 15, I don't know what batteries are authorized to be used in an iPhone 15. Okay, so I will just create this request. I'll tell tell them that I have no idea where to get this. Please source and buy as soon as possible. This will be directed to a purchasing or a sourcing expert who will then figure out what are the authorized batteries for an iPhone 15, where can they be sourced, and so forth, and complete this information so that the purchase of this item can be made. At the end, basically, when I add all the items to my shopping cart, I review the shopping cart, okay, and I proceed to checkout. On the way to checkout, I put in some additional information like shipping details, additional comments, priorities, and stuff like that. And then when I submit request, any item that was sourced from a storeroom will create a reservation in that storeroom. Any item that was sourced from basically from a vendor will create a purchase requisition for that vendor. And any item that basically was miscellaneous, I didn't know where it sourced from, will be workflow directed to a buyer or so sourcing person who will then figure out what to get where and all that stuff and fulfill that request for me. And that's basically the solution, making it easier to the request, faster, more intuitive, so that your technicians will spend less time on a computer sourcing and figuring things out and more time basically maintaining assets. EzReq can be accessed from the Maximo application itself. So if you're within Maximo from the desktop itself, you take menu option and goes into EzReq and do it just like any other menu option, but it's a different user interface, but more intuitive user interface, but you're in Maximo. It can also be called from Maximo work order tracking. So any items that you add to EzReq, when it comes back, when you check out, it comes back, it adds those items to the work order as planned materials. Or importantly, it can also be accessed from outside of Maximo. So your non-Maximo users, or maybe office folks or production people and so forth that may be using Maximo to create requisitions and purchase orders eventually, or at least requisitions, can create this application to create requisition, not going into Maximo. They don't have to go into Maximo and navigate through Maximo and stuff. They just use this application and it creates a requisition eventually in Maximo to be processed like any other requisition, but they don't have to go into Maximo. So EzReq is just one of many solutions that we offer. Here's a quick overview of some of the other things that we do, but basically we've got 3 solutions. One is a CXML integration framework that integrates between you and the suppliers, your computerized system directly to their computerized system. Information flows electronically back and forth. Now, many advanced vendors, like I said, 1,800 vendors out there have this technology. We can integrate directly with them. So information just goes instantaneously back and forth. But for the smaller vendors who don't have that capability, we have a portal where we can publish your RFQs, your purchase orders, invoices can be imported, all that stuff through a portal. And that's how the vendor can interact with you. But you get everything going back and forth electronically as well. And then we have extensive Maximo enhancements to make the entire process more optimized, more holistic, so that you have a full end-to-end solution. Graphically, this is represented this way. It's quite complex. I don't expect you to grasp this immediately, but the key is what you've seen is just this over here. This EzReq is the beginning process to help you create the requisition or reservation in Maximo easier. The rest of the processes, the downstream processes, are using CXML to send the orders to the vendor, get the confirmation, get the advanced shipping notifications, get the invoice, and so forth, either directly to from their computerized system using CXML, or indirectly through a portal to get quotes and things like that. When data is exchanged electronically, and that's what we're trying to do, exchange information electronically, so there's no keying in, all that stuff, it's much faster. Your processes from end to end complete much faster. It's completely accurate. There's no retyping. It just flows electronically from one system to another. It can be automated. Once the data is coming to your Maximo system electronically, Maximo can do things. They can do workflow, escalations, notifications, automated scripts, and so forth. You can automate a lot of processes that way. and it's much more reliable. Thank you very much. That's the presentation. If you would like more information, discuss your requirements further, or a deep dive, we can arrange a separate call. You can contact us at this number or this email. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. And Adam,